let me just make a disclaimer saying that this video is in no way trying to like bash the parents that, you know, sort of like let this happen. It's a very difficult situation, and I understand now that I'm an adult, somewhat an adult. It's very, very hard to survive in a whole different country with a whole different culture. And since, you know, like children really adapt very quickly, they are sort of like the ones that hold their parents' hands and sort of like help them navigate the new world. Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby. I'm so pleased to have you here. I'm really feeling myself today. The sun is shining, the light is doing its thing, and I'm grateful and I feel good. Hope you feel the same way, and if not, hope it gets better. In today's video, I'm gonna address a topic that unfortunately I am very familiar with, and is basically parentification of immigrant children, specifically African immigrant children. So although parentification occurs for a variety of reasons, for different reasons and in different environments, I am going to center it around immigrant families. So what even is parentification? Parentification is a process in which a child takes on adult roles, like adult responsibilities or an adult role. So this can look like you taking care of your siblings while you're a child yourself, or you taking care or having to prematurely take care of your parents, either instrumentally or emotionally, while it's supposed to be the other way around. You know, it happens due to a variety of reasons. You know, maybe the parent got sick, the parent has mental illness, or they're going through something, substance abuse. But like I already said, in today's video, we're going to center it around immigration and how having a language, a cultural and financial stress, and all the things that come with immigration can make a child more prone to being parentified. I was scrolling on YouTube, and I think it was this psychologist, therapist, Dr. Nima, I think is the name, Dr. Nima Franklin. I'm sorry, I don't remember. She was talking about parentification. I was like, oh shit, wait, that that happened to me. You know, like that. Are you talking about me? Like sometimes the algorithm, the gods of the algorithm just really serve you. They serve you. It's like you've been served. Here you go. After like watching that video, I was like, I'm gonna do some more research about the topic because I think that's what happened to me. And right now, I don't know what to do. So yeah, I started doing more research on the topic, and I realized that most parents are not even aware of parentification while it's happening. Like they don't know that that's what's happening. That's first of all. And second of all, we should take culture into account. Culture is a factor that we shouldn't forget because it's not the same thing to be a parentified child when, I don't know, you're like a child from the Western world than if you are a child from an African family, because you try telling your African parent, I saw this video on YouTube and apparently you're parentifying me and it has very negative consequences for my mental health, so I'm not doing that anymore. Are you mad? Most of the research that I found was centered around Asian communities, as in Asian immigrant children that went through parentification due to the language and the cultural barrier. And I didn't really find anything regarding African children, but it's basically the same shit. I feel like the only difference is, well, one of the differences is that, you know, in the African communities, most of the times we have, our culture has normalized parentification. You know, we don't talk about it as something to be dealt with, you know, we don't talk about it from that perspective because it's a normalized phenomenon. Like it's normal for you as an elder sibling to take care of the younger siblings. It's normal for you to prematurely take care of, sometimes it's not even your parents, sometimes it's extended family members that you don't even know who they are, but it's normal for you to like take care of them. And I don't know, I think that by the end of the day, it would be very hard for us to talk about it as something that brings such negative consequences to us because we don't really acknowledge it as such. Now let's get into the consequences of parentification for the child. The first consequence I'm gonna mention is emotional and psychological distress. These children may feel overwhelmed by their responsibilities because you're not only juggling with the things you have to juggle with as a child, you know, trying to like figure out your way through the world and, you know, juggling with school and trying to fit into something, and trying to like find your people. You're also juggling adult responsibilities, and that can really cause a lot of stress on you. Someone here, my cortisol levels. There's gonna come a time where you don't know how to function without stress, and that is not a very good thing apparently. Like all you know is stress. There gets to a point in your life where all you know is stress. You don't know what to do without it. The second consequence is difficulty forming and maintaining relationships. Oh, I feel this deep in my heart. I feel this deep in my heart. Growing up, I didn't really have that many friends because I felt like I if you have other parentified children as your friends, like that kind of like makes sense. But it kind of makes sense because it's just like, this is something we share, and that's why most of the times you see immigrants being friends with other immigrants. I mean, there are like more reasons that go into it, but it's very hard to be friends with someone who has a somewhat healthy childhood because you just compare yourself to them all the time. It's like, why do I have to do the dishes and this guy doesn't? Why is it that I'm supposed to get good grades at school and do all these things that I'm supposed to do, like these responsibilities that I have as a child, and also do more things apart from that? And I'm seeing these people who are not doing it. It's very hard to maintain, relationships and friendships with your peers when that's what you're going through. And apart from that, there's some times that, someone say, hey, come hang out. Just like, nah, I can't. I have to take care of my sibling. The amount of birthday parties that I took my sister. Like, you have to take them with you everywhere you go. It's like, I didn't want this child now. I didn't want this child. Why do I have to take them with me? Now, the third consequence is difficulty in school and education. Same reason. Same reason. How are you supposed to juggle so many things at the same time? I have noticed that most African guys in Spain don't really pursue higher education because of responsibilities that they're supposed to juggle with at home, because it's supposed to bring in money sooner. It doesn't just happen to the sons. I've seen daughters that also go through that, and I'm immensely like fortunate, and I'm so lucky, that my parents weren't like, nah, what do you mean you want to study? Why don't you get a job so we can have money? But there are people who actually go through that, and it's like, I'm sorry, what do you mean that your child that you were supposed to take care of, is supposed to take care of you right when they turn 16, and they're supposed to bring in money so you can build your house in Africa? There's also difficulty with personal development, obviously, for the same reason. You don't have your own sense of identity because it's like you didn't have a regular healthy childhood, and most of the times this extends to your teens, because once you start, it's like you don't really ever let it go. Once you start, like with the parentification process, you start at any time that you can. They give these responsibilities to you as soon as they realize that you may be able to do it, and once that starts, it doesn't really ever stop. So you don't really have any sense of identity because you didn't have the time nor the means to find it. And another consequence that parentification can have is difficulty with acculturation. It is true that kids assimilate culture, like different cultures and the language very quickly, and that's precisely why they are parentified. That's precisely why the parents delegate some responsibilities on these children. But at the same time, you have to realize that it becomes such a task. It's such a daunting task when you have to be switching between who you are. It's like it's such a brain fuck. That's all I'm gonna say. It's such a brain fuck. How you're supposed to assimilate the culture, but not too much. You're supposed to assimilate this new culture, but not to the point where you forget your own. And it's very hard to find belonging in these new cultures, but also to find belonging in your old culture. And that's where you get the I'm too Ghanaian for the Spanish, but I'm too Spanish for the Ghanaians. But then, the good thing about this is you find your own tribe, people who've been through the same shit as you, and you come together. But that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case. I feel like every child deserves, to just have the struggles that come with childhood. Because childhood and adolescence and, your teenage years, they're as hard as they come. and having more responsibilities added to what you're supposed to do. Some people think they're strong enough. I used to think that I was strong enough until I got to my breaking point. I was like, what is this? And the worst part is you can't stop doing it because you let go of them, the family crumbles. Everything crumbles. One of the most vivid experiences I have in my life with parentification, it kind of left me traumatized, to be honest. Okay, I'm kidding, not to that point, but it was something. So basically what happened was that the whole family was sick, and although we were all sick, I was still the one who had to go to the hospital and ask for an appointment for all of us. And it's just like, well, that's not too bad. But here's the thing, like those sacrifices are sacrifices the parents make, you know? These are sacrifices the parents make. You may be sick, your mom may be sick, but she still kind of like nurtures you back to health, although she is also sick. Those are things the parents normally do. They sacrifice themselves for their children. The thing is, I was no parent, I was no parent, and I couldn't really tell my mom, hey, you do it. You're the one who's supposed to do it, because she couldn't. It wasn't really an option. She can't get up and go there and ask for them to sort of like, she didn't speak Spanish. She didn't speak Spanish. Like, how was she supposed to go there and ask them for like an appointment? Most of the times it's just, if you don't do it, the whole family crumbles. If you don't put your big girl pants on and come in and save the day, it's not gonna happen. There was this meme, I saw on Instagram like a very long time ago. I don't know if I can find it. If I can find it, oh my god, I'll be so happy. But I don't think I'm gonna find it. It was published like a long time ago, and it was basically the Squid Game, the show. When the Indian guy held on to the protagonist when he was about to fall, and they said that the Indian guy is like the firstborn daughter in an immigrant African family. You are literally holding your family together because, oh my god, you are literally holding your family together because without you, they would literally not survive. One of the things that I think I found like very interesting while doing research on the topic was that is there is quite a gender difference. Like in most things, there is quite a gender difference between how the daughters are parentified and how the sons are parentified. Sons usually are not in the caretaking role. They're not taking care of the siblings, they're not taking care of the household, they're not doing none of that shit. Most of the times, what they are forced to do is, well, they're forced to grow up very quickly, and they're forced to sort of like get into their role of a provider, as in and bringing money into the family at a very young age. The last but not least consequence is what we've been talking about up until now, which is difficulty with mental health. Um, Obviously, when you're going through a lot of these things, you're prone to have depression, you're prone to have anxiety, you're prone to have all of that. Now, I do want to acknowledge the fact that the consequences of parentification on a child, when you're a child going through the process, is not the same as the consequences you suffer when you are an adult who was parentified as a child. It's not like once you get out of the parentification process, which is most likely not going to happen because you are going to continue taking care of the things that you used to take care of, unless your siblings grow up, or unless your parents actually learn the language, which is most likely not to happen. Now, once you start, it's just an ongoing thing forever and ever. Anywho, even if you do get out of the parentification process, you still carry some BS with you into your adult years. Yeah, it doesn't end. So one of the things you have is difficulty forming relationships with other people. You don't know how to form nor maintain healthy relationships. You think that the thing you bring to the table in a relationship, and I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, I'm talking about all kinds of relationships, is that you are supposed to be useful. Like, you don't think you deserve to be loved for who you are, but you deserve to be loved for what you do for other people, because that's what you've been taught that love is. Doing all these things for your parents is what has sort of like given you the love they have for you. So you always have this, I need to help people fix themselves, I need to help people do this and that. You become a fixer, and not in a good way. You don't have boundaries, basically. You don't have boundaries. You don't know how to establish boundaries. You don't know how to take care of yourself first. You don't know how to be selfish. You always put other people first until you get to like a breaking point, and then you blame other people for like using you. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. You always prioritize the needs of others before your own, and then you get mad when others don't put you first. Why am I calling myself out right now? Difficult time trusting people because you feel like everybody is unreliable. You're always I might as well just do it myself because you don't know how to do it. Nobody knows how to do it. It's always you. You always know how to do everything. You are self-reliant, hyper independent, Miss Hyper Independent. Everything you have to do it your way. Yeah, you don't trust anyone to do anything for you because you don't think they're going to do it right, or you don't think that they actually know what they're doing because you've never really had anyone help you do anything. It's always been you. Have a difficult time connecting with other people on an emotional level. You have difficult time with stress management. Like I said before, sometimes you don't even know how to function without stress. You have grown accustomed to stress in such a way that you don't know how to function without it. Obviously, we're not all going to have the same consequences. These are just potential consequences that you may have if you were parentified as a child. They're not certain. We're not all going to have the same consequences. It depends on your resilience, your experience. We are different people. You know, we deal with different things in different ways. So I just really want to know about you guys and your experience with parentification, because I know that we don't talk about it enough. We don't ever talk about it in our community. But I do have to admit that in an African community, I don't know how we're gonna talk because it's not like the children's thing only. You know, like you have to have a chat with your parents or like whatever. And, and African parents are not known to be very good with communication. Let's be real here. Like, try telling your African parents that you don't want to take care of your siblings because it's not your responsibility, it's actually theirs because they birthed your siblings, and that what they're doing is parentification and has negative consequences on your mental health. Do you want to die? Do you have a death wish? To be in front of like your African parent and tell them that and say, hey, I don't, I'm this thing is not working for me anymore. Amma, are you okay? Are you okay? Do I think the parents can do better? Yes, definitely. Is this video to criticize the parenting style? Maybe, but don't come for me. Do I think you can do better? Yes, but I also do recognize that it's a very, very sensitive topic and it's a very difficult situation. You know, like being in a new country, in with new culture, with a new language, and you know, having your kid being able to translate for you and do all these things, and your kid refusing to do it because apparently it's parentification. Try making sense out of that as a parent. Like it doesn't make sense. So that's it for the video. I hope you guys liked it and I hope it serves as basic approximation to the topic. And I really want to know, what is your experience with parentification? Have you ever had an aha moment when you realized that you're not being treated as a child, or that you're not being treated just like your peers were treated? Whatever it is that you think, however it is that you feel, and if you want to share it, you can do it in the comment section below. But I really hope you do. So we all sort of like realize that we're not alone, and it's an ongoing thing, and we like let's I don't know, I want to know if there's even solutions to this because I am literally scared of talking about this with my African parents. Not gonna happen. If you want to add anything to the conversation, just you can comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.